Hello students, you're instructor here at John Medela with the screencast. This is one part of the Sans Serifs #2 group. This is Myriad. This typeface, very unassuming, and you probably notice like, hey, that looks familiar. That's because it's the default typeface for Adobe products, Photoshop, Flash, all that kind of stuff. Now, what is there to notice about it then, since there's not much to notice about it? Well, there are a few things that I think are kind of odd. That's what makes Myriad Myriad. That's why people love it and hate it. The first thing is, notice the R, the leg kind of curls out and then stops. It's kind of awkward like that. The other awkward part, also found in the R, that's my daughter in the background, and other things, is that on the rounded letters, or letters that have bowls, the curve actually goes up and then comes back down. It might be hard to see. Let me zoom in as much as I can here. You notice right here, look at how it goes up and then comes back down. And it actually dips down a slight bit and then curls back up to the stem. Very weird. It's very weird. You'll notice that the R does it as well. It goes up, then comes back down. The P goes up, then comes back down. Any letters like that that have a bowl or anything like that near the top are going to do that. And it's a kind of awkward thing. Other thing is the E. Just goes and just stops. It's just kind of a very unassuming angle there. And the other letters are pretty like standard fare, so to speak. There's nothing too special about them. The T's have a little bit of a hook on them, but that's about it. The S's are pretty flowy. Now, what makes Myriad Myriad is not just its characteristics and the way it looks in its regular version. There are, let's see, this is Myriad Pro. There are 40 versions of Myriad Pro. From super light and regular to heavy and italic. Notice how fanciful the italic characters get. And thick, really thin and condensed, thick and condensed and bold. Black, a super dark version of itself. And then semi-extended. This one you don't see very often, but it's Myriad Pro semi-extended black. But it still has the characteristics that make it unmistakably Myriad, with the E cut off at the unassuming angle, and the T, and the very round P. Things like that. So all this is part of what Myriad really is all about, which is the Myriad Multiple Master. Now, it's a term you don't hear very often, because it's not as amazing of a thing as it once was. There's a lot of typefaces do this. But this is similar to Universe in that Myriad, the normal Myriad we looked at before, is right in the middle. And it gets wider and heavier as it goes down here, and it gets thinner and more condensed as it goes up here. So there actually are typefaces for all these variants. So that's the Myriad Multiple Master. In fact, when I was working in Dubuque, they had so many different variations of Myriad. They weren't even divided by name, like wide and bold. It was divided by number, like 700 or 750 or 758, stuff like that. Somewhat similar to Universe, which is a numeric system. Now, Myriad is everywhere. And here's one example of it. It's on the Apple website. It's everywhere in the Apple website. Not all the body text, but certainly if it's like a little picture graphic like this with text in it, you're going to see Myriad. Again, the B curls up there. T has a hook on it. The M is cantered. That's another key letter in Myriad, that the M is cantered. I remember I said in earlier videos, the first letter of the name of the typeface is often styled in a very special way. So this one, Myriad M, it's cantered. If you look at Adobe, also use Myriad. They actually now use a typeface called ClearType, or ClearFace, but it's just a variation of Myriad. You can see again the D and the B very rounded. The R curls out there. Things like that. The G doesn't have a foot or anything like that. The M is cantered. Here's more about Apple. So they used to have Garamond. If you remember, like, hey, I remember we saw Apple signs in a previous video. Their older building signage, or exterior signage, used Garamond. Now their new exterior building signage uses Myriad. Okay, very round, humanist typeface. It also looks like the flat Apple versus the 3D Apple. Another example. Here's a blown up version of it. You can see how round the B is, and the wide is curls down the E at the unassuming angle. And lastly, Adobe icons for CS5 use Myriad for the most part.